Hi everyone. Welcome to Sustainable Living with Shilpa Reddy, powered by Planet Greens Farm Natura, a new beginning to your life. I'm here today to take you on an informative, introspective and inspiring journey on the next episode of Home Crop Explore with Shilpa. Today on this episode of Home Crop Explore with Shilpa, I will talk about microgreens as they are simple to grow and are 40% more nutritious than veggies, and it requires zero budget. Microgreens are seedlings of vegetables and herbs. Like sprouts, microgreens are a young vegetable. However, sprouts and microgreens are not the same. Sprouts are usually grown in water and harvested within 2 to 3 days, while microgreens need sunlight and usually take 1 to 3 weeks depending on the variety. Popular varieties grown as microgreens include amaranth, mustard, kale, broccoli, beet and sunflower. There is also evidence that some may contain a higher concentration of many nutrients than their mature fully grown counterparts. From the sustainability point of view, microgreens could be a good way to provide access to locally produced seasonal vegetables at a low cost. Microgreens are easy to grow at home in a confined space. A small outlay can provide a significant return in terms of bulky variety and nutrients. As they take just a few weeks to grow, it is possible to have an ongoing source of microgreens. By rotating 3 crops, for example, people could have fresh microgreens every week. Scatter seeds over a potting mix in a planter bag or tray and cover with another thin layer of potting mix. The size of the bag being used is 16 inches by 4 inches. Seeds used are of beetroot and mustard in the same bag. Mist the soil with water and place near a source of sunlight. Continue to mist the seeds daily to keep the soil moist. It takes 1 to 3 weeks for the microgreens to be ready depending on the variety. It is important to harvest and eat as soon as possible when they are ready, or you can refrigerate them at no more than 5 degrees and consume within 10 days. How to use microgreens? As well as adding nutritional content, microgreens can boost color, enhance flavor and add texture to any dish. People can add microgreens to meals in the following ways. As a garnish for salads, soups, flatbreads, to add additional value to a juice or a smoothie, as a side for any main dish, and to add flavor, color to your omelettes. Our aim for this project is to spread awareness about sustainability and inspire change. I truly believe that our planet needs our love and attention now more than ever before. I hope you all agree with me on this. Have you ever thought of how there is no such a thing as waste in nature? Think about it. Let me give you an example. Take the tree outside your house. It discards leaves every single day, right? Do these leaves go to waste? No. The soil takes over the fallen leaves and starts decomposing them to nourish itself. Nothing from this shedding tree needs to go to a landfill or an ocean garbage patch. In fact, the tree waste becomes a feast for the soil. This is the beauty of nature. There are so many other examples of how nature sustains itself. Even scary predators kill only when they are hungry. Whatever is left behind after they eat is relished by scavengers. If something is still left behind, it is devoured by insects and then broken down by microorganisms. From one form of nature to another, by the end of this cycle, there is not a trace of waste. The earth also adopts a beautiful cooperative strategy that we can learn from. Take the example of honeybees. They drink in the nectar from a flower and return the favor by spreading the flower's pollen. There is value in everything. Think of these multiple systems of earth. They are full of cycles. Waste is simply not present in nature. It is a human design flaw. Ecosystems constantly operate in circular loops and in a very cooperative manner. According to the UN, if human activity continues at the current rate, We will need 3 planets to sustain our lifestyles by 2050. What can we do about this? The most logical way out is to go back to nature. If we can adopt the circular material loop, just like the natural environment, we can get closer to solving our trash problem. We would be inching towards the world with zero waste, just the way it's meant to be. The world generates 2.1 billion tons of municipal solid waste annually. All the world's animals weigh only 2 billion tons. Nevertheless, we've got to start chipping away at this challenge. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit that we can get to with small tweaks in our lifestyle. Stay with me. We are just about to dive a little more deeper into this challenge. Let's get the garbage out of sight but not out of mind. Where does waste come from? There's a couple of ways in which we can categorize waste. At a very basic level, like all other states of matter, waste is also solid, liquid and gaseous. What really piqued my curiosity though is what are the various sources of this waste? Where does all the waste in the world come from? I know it's quite a loaded question, but let's try to break it down. In this section, let's look at 4 major sources of waste. First is municipal waste. Municipal waste is nothing but the waste collected and treated by our municipalities. All the domestic, commercial and institutional waste fall under this genre bucket. Basically, everything that's coming from your home, from shops nearby, offices, hotels, schools fall under this category. The types of waste in this category include food, plastic, metal, glass, street sweeps, e-waste, sewage, auto parts, chemicals and so on. Though it's all under one bucket, there's a wide range of waste in there that needs thorough segregation. Some of it is biodegradable, some recyclable and some can be hazardous waste too. Second is industrial waste. This is nothing but waste that come from industrial activity at factories, industries, mills, mining and so on. These wastes are either byproducts of the manufacturing process or simply raw materials that have become useless. Industries also produce a lot of waste gases like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide because of the fuels used for energy. Some of these are quite a health hazard. Agricultural waste and residues. This source of waste may not seem so obvious at first. After all, agriculture is all about producing food and food is an essential commodity that is consumed. But agricultural waste is basically anything unwanted that comes out of the process. It includes plant remains, crop residue, animal waste and food processing related waste and chemical residue from pesticides and fertilizers. In spite of that, the list of byproducts and residues from agro industry is huge and growing over time. Medical waste. Healthcare facilities such as hospitals, clinics, veterinary hospitals, labs generate a lot of waste, most of which tends to be hazardous or not environmentally friendly. The items in this category of waste include surgical items, pharmaceuticals, wound dressing materials, needles and syringes. With the current COVID-19 climate, this category definitely calls for more attention. The volume of medical waste has increased by up to 40%, most of which is made out of single-use plastic that is likely to end up either in incinerators or landfills. Where does all the waste go? Waste management is not a trivial cause. It is a basic human right just as important as ensuring clean food, water, shelter and power. It's critical to society, to the environment and the economy as well. If we approach it positively, waste management is as much an opportunity as it is a challenge. Yes, you heard me right. Our waste is like a treasure chest for economic savings and revenue. Before we understand how though, shall we look at some of the ways in which waste is currently managed globally? What works and what doesn't? Landfills. Globally, almost 37% of waste is dumped or disposed of in some form of a landfill. It is not surprising that landfills have grown to astronomical size. In 2019, the largest site was the Apex Regional Landfill in Las Vegas with 50 billion tons of waste over 2,200 acres of land. That is huge. Most countries rely on open dumping of waste, some which may be recovered, recycled, composted or incinerated. Even with their share of disadvantages, we do depend on landfills. We can't completely avoid them, but we sure can minimize their use. We need to think hard about waste that can be easily reused, composted or recycled instead of directly sending into a landfill. Global waste trade. For years together now, a part of the developed world waste burden is being shifted to developing countries. This is what is known as the global waste trade. These shipments include tons of plastic waste, medical waste, e-waste and other hazardous waste types that pose a range of environmental concerns. If that's not bad enough, the World Bank estimates that only 10% of imported rubbish is recycled. Plastic is inherently difficult to recycle. Different types of plastics need to be treated separately. What this means is, most of the waste imported can't be properly managed and ends up in a landfill or gets incinerated. According to estimates, about 64 million people are directly affected by dump sites created by this global waste trade. In 2018, even India amended hazardous waste rules by prohibiting the import of solid plastic waste. This also is in line with our country's goal to phase out single-use plastics. More countries need to follow this suit. How can we effectively manage garbage? Sustainable consumption and production. Before we even get to waste management, we have got to think of waste minimization. It is quite intuitive, don't you think? If we consume less and produce less, then we will waste less. There can be no sustainable development without sustainable consumption and production. So let's talk about sustainable consumption first. Think about it. How often do you buy something simply because you can afford it and not because you really need it? It is definitely a food for thought. There is actually an inspiring moment that questions some such common lifestyle practices. It is called the zero waste lifestyle movement. People who adopt this philosophy change their consumption habits to drastically reduce their waste footprint. In fact, many of them are able to fit a year's worth of waste in just one glass mason jar. Most zero waste lifestyle advocates claim how these habits save their time, money and really enrich their lives. Isn't that amazing? If we think of ways of generating less waste, we will spend less on treating it. Like with every change, it is challenging to switch to a green infrastructure. There are also steep costs involved in the process. Many industries and organizations would surely be open to sustainable production with some support from the government and private sectors. There is an encouraging story to tell here. Recently, 9 startups from Hyderabad received a Parivartan Bank grant from HDFC. This grant specifically caters to businesses focused on sustainability. Banyan Nation, one of the chosen companies, happens to be one of India's first vertically integrated plastic recycling company. Their plastic cleaning technology converts municipal and industrial plastic waste into high quality recycled granules that can replace virgin plastic. It is so heartening to see when such ideas get supported. Waste segregation. Taking care of waste is a tough task, but trust me when I say half the waste management battle is won by proper segregation. We know that not all wastes are created equal. Some are valuable, some hazardous, some reusable, some recyclable and so on. Individually, their value is more and their risk is lower. But when everything is muddled up in one pile, managing it becomes really tough. Segregated waste really reduces health and safety related risks to waste pickers and to the ecosystem as well. There is another major benefit of segregation. Recycling depends critically on segregation. Segregation at source, by separating organic waste from dry recyclable contents, is crucial to effectively recycling and diverting waste from landfills. Composting, turning garbage to gold. Segregation of waste opens up the doors to the most amazing part of waste management, composting. I always get excited when I talk about composting. I think it's because it's our way of returning back to Mother Earth that we took from it. Composting is basically a biological process in which the organic matter, like food waste, is allowed to decompose under carefully controlled conditions. Microbes metabolize the organic waste material and reduces its volume by as much as 50%. The final product is called compost. It looks almost like soil in texture and odor. It's the best form of nourishment for your soil. Home composting is actually a very simple and clean process. I highly recommend you get started today. There are many ways of composting bins available in the market that you can use. Else, you can also do it your way. We may not realize it, but much of the waste that we generate is biodegradable. Typically, 50 to 70% by weight of the solid waste generated in developing countries is organic material suitable for composting. But still, more than 60 million tons of biodegradable materials like food scraps, wet and soil paper, leaves and grass are still being sent to landfills. Reusing. A lot of the things that we trash can either be reused or recycled. We live in a world of abundance. It's natural that we throw out anything that's remotely old, empty, worn, broken, ugly or marred as useless. We don't spend too much time really thinking about the consequence of what we discard. Something we refuse could actually end up as a valuable resource. It all depends on the eye of the beholder, if I may say so. Reusing and upcycling to solve everyday problem is actually a very satisfying process. And of course, it saves money and conserves resources while satisfying the human urge to be creative. Talking about creativity, there are actually some clothing designers who have turned upcycling into a trend. Designers create sari dresses from pre-loved saris. They use vintage family heirlooms bought in by their clients. They also source pre-loved saris from vendors who burn South Indian silks to collect the gold zari. Really innovative indeed. Recycling. Your daily newspaper, cardboard delivery boxes, paper, tin cans, glass, plastic bottles and old electronics. These are many more items that can be recycled if they are disposed of responsibly. Sorting out recyclable items may feel like a tiresome chore to start with, but it can easily become an effortless habit. In fact, recycling is not just a matter of managing waste. It's an economic system in itself. In Brazil, China and United States alone, 12 million people work in this industry. The recycling market is expected to grow from $265 billion in 2017 to about $377 billion by 2024. Waste to energy market. The waste to energy market is capable of turning trash into treasure. It is basically technology that can convert non-recyclable waste into usable and valuable forms of renewable energy. There are multiple processes through which even sewage waste can become profitable. This waste can be used to produce biogas, fertilizers, hydrogen fuel used in rockets, brick making and much more. I also want to share a couple of ideas that I have with you. Reduce and reuse. You're probably tired of hearing these R words, but we have got to tirelessly keep coming back to them. Even if you're already reducing and reusing, There's always scope to reduce and reuse more. Ditch plastic bags. Treat them like plague. Cut down on food waste by only as much as you know your family would consume. If you know you're going to end up with excess, plan to share with someone in need. Switch over from plastic to reusable containers in your kitchen. Donate old clothes and household items instead of throwing them out. Shop from zero waste stores to avoid single-use plastic packaging. Reuse paper, old Xerox copies, advertising pamphlets and so on. Segregate your waste. It might take a little bit of effort at first, but trust me, it feels so good to know that your waste will be put to good use. And more importantly, that it's not going to hurt any person on the planet in the process. To segregate effectively, you will need at least 3 bins. Keep one for wet waste. This is mostly for food scraps, grass and leaves. All the contents in this bin can be composted by you at home. Keep another bin for all recyclable items. Anything with a recycle symbol on it, typically plastic bottles, glass, etc., will go into this bin. Even cardboard boxes from online deliveries get into this bin. Remember to keep the contents clean to make the recycling process easy. Once your bin is full, you can either donate or sell these to the vendors who are in business of recycling. All other waste can be collected in the 3rd bin. Do remember, if you have any e-waste or hazardous waste like batteries, you will need to dispose them off separately. Spread love. Encourage people around you to adopt some of these life changes. Convince your local kirana store to switch to paper bags or reusable containers. Gift your friends cloth bags for shopping. I do that a lot. This is very important. Plant more trees. Trees quietly work their magic by cleaning the pollutants in the air. If you don't have a yard, you can use your terrace or balcony. Shop for sustainable products. Try as much as possible to buy products that are made from sustainable resources like bamboo, cotton, etc. Switch to chemical-free products. From floor cleaners to dish and apparel washing products, all of them are filled with harmful chemicals. Try switching over to more natural products that don't leave behind harmful residues. It will be great for the environment and your health too. These are just a handful of ideas that we had. We would love to hear from you. What more can you and I do to better manage our waste? Do share your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm looking forward to learning from you guys. Together, we can be a part of the solution and not the pollution. Hope you all found this video informative. Please do subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more updates. I will see you all next week. Till then, signing off, Shilpa Reddy.